Hi students, welcome back to all 4 learning chemistry classes. Today we are going to start session 15, and in this session I am going to discuss with you about the numericals based on percentage yield of a chemical reaction. In the previous session I have given to you what exactly the meaning of percentage yield of a chemical reaction, and today I will repeat once again that approach, and then I will go for numericals. Percentage yield is equal to actual amount of product obtained in the process or in the reaction, actual amount of product obtained divided by theoretically calculated amount of product multiplied by 100 will give rise the percentage yield of a chemical reaction. Because of the practical losses that occur in the process, this particular concept we have to use based on this percentage yield. We can say whether the process is feasible in the more convenient way or in the academic way also. So if the percentage yield is maximum, then you can say that the process is very good process to be adopted for the manufacturing of that particular chemical. Let me start with the first numerical on the percentage yield concept. Please note down along with me, students. Ferric oxide Fe2O3 reacts with excess carbon monoxide. Please write down, students. At a high temperature, according to, just ACC I am writing, according to, he has given the equation also. CO2 if 6.5 grams of Fe2O3 ferric oxide yields, if 6.5 grams of ferric oxide yields 3.85 grams of iron, what is the percentage yield of reaction? Just RCN I am writing, the percentage yield of reaction. Okay, now percentage yield means actual amount of product obtained. Here it is 3.85 grams of iron divided by theoretically calculated amount of product that I am going to do now. I am repeating the equation once again, balanced chemical equation. Ferric oxide on reduction with carbon monoxide will be reduced to iron and liberating carbon dioxide. This is the equation as given. Simply I can write 1 mole gives 2 moles here. but this time he has given only 6.5 grams of Fe2O3. Let me calculate molar mass of Fe2O3, iron 56, 112 and 3 16s 48, that is 160, but he has given 6.5 grams. So I am writing 6.5 divided by 160. Okay, let me solve in the mass itself, no need of conversion. Okay, let me convert this mole into mass directly. I can write it as 160 grams can give rise to 2 into 56 grams of iron, no doubt, according to balanced equation. Now he has taken 6.5 grams. So this calculation is nothing but calculation theoretically calculated based on the given data by using pen and paper like that. So 6.5 divided by 160 into 2 into 56. This exactly you will get it as 4.55 grams. As per balanced chemical equation, we can predict, we can estimate theoretically by doing calculations based on the stoichiometry concepts. You can say that 4.55 grams of iron have to be obtained. But how much iron actually obtained in his process, designed the process? Only 3.85 because of the practical losses. Now you can go for percentage yield calculation. Percentage yield is actual amount of product formed divided by theoretically predicted into 100. Approximately you will get it as 84.6%. 84.6%. So this is the way how to calculate the percentage yield of a given chemical process. Please note down, students. I will go for some more numericals based on this. Okay, students, let me go for the next numerical. Write down. If a 16 grams sample of sulfur dioxide on oxidation yields 18 grams sulfur trioxide according to, as given the equation also, 2SO2 plus O2 gives rise to 2SO3. What is the percentage yield of a reaction? What is the percentage yield of reaction? Same approach. Let me write the balanced chemical equation. Okay, this is the balanced chemical equation. From this equation we can write 2 moles of sulfur dioxide can yield 2 moles of sulfur trioxide on oxidation by oxygen. 2 mole means we can write simply 2 into molar mass of sulfur dioxide, 32 plus 2 into 16, 64 grams gives rise to 2 into molar mass of sulfur trioxide, 32 plus 48, that is 80 grams. But he has taken a sample of 16 grams of sulfur dioxide. So theoretical calculation I am doing. If you take 16 grams, what will be the weight of this? So 16 by 2 into 64 into 2 into 80. This is 4. So this is 20 grams finally. So finally I got a theoretical calculation for the mass of sulfur trioxide that should be obtained from 16 grams of sulfur dioxide on oxidation. But actually in that process, how much he got? He has given that he got as only 18 grams. Now we have to find out the percentage yield, actual amount of product divided by theoretically calculated 20 into 100, that is 5 18s are 90%. So the answer is 90%. So very good process because 90% yield is there. So well designed process and more economic process. Okay, please write down the solution. Then I will change the model of the question based on this approach. Okay, students, let me go for the next numerical. You please note it down. 2x, 2 moles of x plus 3y gives rise to 3z, where x, y, z are chemicals. The combination of, write down here, for a reaction, okay, for a reaction 2x plus 3y gives rise to 3z. The combination of, write down students, the combination of 2 mole of x, comma 2 moles of x with 2 moles of x with 2 mole of y, 2 mole of x with 2 mole of y produces, write down, produces 1.75 mole of Z, 1.75 mole of Z. What is the percentage yield of reaction? Note it down, students. So what is the percentage yield of reaction? Okay, let me write the equation, balanced chemical equation first of all. I am writing here 2x plus 3y gives rise to 3z. Now let me write the moles of equation. 2 moles combines with 3 moles and forms 3 mole of Z. This we can write as per the balanced chemical equation. Now let me write given moles. Given moles for x are 2 moles and for y also 2 moles. Now here there enters the concept of limiting reagent again here, because equal moles he has given, but 2 moles needs 3 moles. So now first of all we have to fix which is limiting reagent, either x or y. For that I have already explained you in the previous session how to fix limiting reagent. There is an approach, given moles by stoichiometric moles. For x and y I am doing here concentrate 2 by 2, 2 by 3. This is 1, this is 0.67. So this has least value, so you should fix y as limiting reagent, y as limiting reagent. And we know the amount of product always depends on the amount of limiting reagent. Now I am calculating the amount of product that should be obtained theoretically. See, 3 mole Y can produce 3 mole Z, but this time you are given with only 2 mole. So 2 by 3 into 3, that is 2 moles. 3 mole of Y gives 3 mole of Z, so 2 moles of Y gives 2 moles. This is theoretically calculated formation of Z. including the concept of limiting reagent. Now we have to go for the calculation of percentage yield. Okay, percentage yield. Actual amount of product obtained, how many moles he has given? 1.75. But theoretically, how much we have to get? 2 moles into 100, that is 87.5%. So that is the percentage yield of this particular process given in the form of this data. Here he has included two concepts, limiting reagent concept for the estimation of theoretically calculated product and percentage yield. Please note it down, then I will go for next question. Okay students, write down the next question. Calculate the volume of chlorine gas at STP. Calculate the volume of chlorine gas at STP when 1.74 grams of manganese dioxide, 1.74 grams of manganese dioxide reacts with 2.19 grams of HCl, reacts with 2.19 grams of HCl. According to, he has given the equation also. According to the equation, with the percentage yield as 40, the percentage yield as 40. This is the question. He has given percentage yield also, and it is given the amount of reactants involved in the reaction, and finally we have to calculate the volume of chlorine obtained in this process. Okay students, let me write down the balanced equation once again. Write down manganese dioxide, that's 4 moles of HCl, 1 mole of chlorine gas, and manganese chloride MnCl2 plus 2 moles of H2O. This is the balanced chemical equation given to us. From this we can write 1 mole manganese dioxide combines with 4 moles of HCl and forms 1 mole of chlorine gas. Okay, let me convert this into masses, weights. Manganese dioxide molar mass, manganese 55, oxygen 32, so 87 grams. And this one, okay, I will convert into moles first of all, right? Wait, he has given the molar mass of manganese dioxide I got as 87. So what is the mass of manganese dioxide given? 1.74 divided by 87. Students, I am calculating moles. 2 into 87, 174, but 2 digits are there. So this is 0.02 mole given moles. Okay, I am doing in the moles. Anything you can do, no problem, but for simpler thing I am doing the moles. Right. HCl we know 35.5 plus 1, 36.5 is the molar mass, but mass of HCl he has given as 2.19. I am calculating the moles. 636.5 to 19. So you can write it as here 0.06 moles. 0.06 mole. Okay. Again, 1 mole needs 4 moles. 0.02 mole needs 1:4 mole ratio. 0.02 into 4. How much? 0.08. Is it there? No. Again, we have to go for the limiting reagent concept. Let me check which is limiting reagent among these two. Simply by using that application. Given moles by stoichiometric moles. All these are given moles. These two. And you do first one 0.02 by 1. Second one 0.06 by 4. So you will get least moles for second one. So HCl is the limiting reagent here, because we got the least number of moles by dividing given moles by stoichiometric moles. Okay. Now I am going to select this as limiting reagent. We know amount of product always depends on amount of limiting reagent. Okay, now let me calculate the moles of Cl2. Theoretically that should be obtained. Okay, I am writing here 4 mole HCl will produce 1 mole Cl2 theoretically. Here he has given 0.06 mole. How much? 0.06 by 4 mole of chlorine you will get. Now he is saying the percentage yield as only 40. So you never get this. Only 40% of that you will get. Again I am applying the concept of percentage yield here. Please concentrate. Percentage yield, how much he has given? 40. Actual moles into 100 divided by theoretically calculated moles, 0.06 by 4. So actual moles is equal to 0.06 by 4 into 0.4. I have taken this to this side and that one. So volume of chlorine at STP, we know 1 mole of any gas at STP occupy 22.4 liters. Now I am going to calculate 0.06 into 0.1 into 22,400 ml at STP. Okay. So do the calculation for 6 to 224. So I think 1344. So 134.4 ml you will get, because 10 will go for this and 0.6. Okay. So finally the volume of chlorine at STP you will get that as 134.4 ml. Once again I will repeat the explanation for this question, students. This is the balanced chemical equation given to us. Meanwhile, please note it down. And I have calculated corresponding moles involved by taking the respective masses of the substances given in the question. 87, so it is 0.02 moles, it is 0.06 moles. Again he has incorporated the concept of limiting reagent here. So first I have to find out which is limiting reagent, whether manganese dioxide or HCl. For that we have an approach given moles by stoichiometric moles. Least value we should select, and that reagent only we should fix that as a limiting reagent. And based on that I have fixed HCl as a limiting reagent in this question. We know amount of product always depends on amount of limiting reagent only. Okay. Based on that I have calculated 4 moles of HCl gives 1 mole, 0.06 gives how much. So this is the moles of chlorine that should get theoretically by using pen and paper calculation, but practically percentage yield is only 40 he has given, only 40, very poor. Okay. So that's why I have applied the concept of percentage yield, and I have calculated the actual moles of chlorine obtained in the process, actual moles of chlorine obtained in the process. Once you got the moles, it is a gas at STP occupy 1 mole of any gas at STP occupy 22,400 ml or 22.4 liters. So just multiply that with number of moles and I got the volume as 134.4 ml. See the question, students, very good question. 3 concepts have been involved here. One is limiting reagent concept, other one is percentage yield concept, and another one is gram molar volume concept. It's a very good question. You please note it down and let us go for the next question. Okay, students, write down this question. Write down along with me, students. A sample of sodium chloride with 50% purity, is added into aqueous silver nitrate, added to aqueous silver nitrate. Silver chloride precipitate, is filtered, washed and dried, weighing 2.87 grams. If the reaction yield is 20%, then find the mass of sodium chloride sample given. This is the question. I am repeating, students, so please write down. A sample of sodium chloride with 50% purity, means if you are given with 100 grams, some 50 is unwanted material and only 50 grams is sodium chloride. Okay. Is added to aqueous silver nitrate solution. The silver nitrate, black colored powder, dissolved in water. That solution is called silver nitrate aqueous solution. And from that he is getting silver chloride precipitate, and he has filtered that precipitate and washed with water and finally dried. So you will be left with pure silver nitrate. That mass of silver nitrate he has given as 2.87 grams. And he has given the percentage yield of the reaction also as 20%. Then find the mass of sodium chloride sample given. So I have to start with the data of this, because no data is given for sodium chloride and only he is saying 50% pure. Okay. Now we have to start with this data, 2.87 grams. First of all, let me write down the equation. Sodium chloride, I am writing, students, so please write down. Silver nitrate, aqueous solution. I will write aqueous. So silver chloride precipitate, he himself he is saying, okay. Now we will get what is the remaining thing? Sodium nitrate. So NaNO3 aqueous you can write, no problem. So this is the equation. 1 mole needs 1 mole forms 1 mole. Okay. Let me convert the into the moles into the masses. Okay, I will write here. 23 plus 35.5, that is 58.5 grams. Here silver 108, chlorine 35.5, 143.5 grams. 143.5 grams. So these are the molar masses. Okay, I will write here. But how much he has given? 2.87 grams of silver chloride in a dry state finally. So theoretically I am calculating the sodium chloride. Theoretically I am calculating the sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. So if it is 2.87 grams, if it is 2.87 grams, what will be the mass of 58.5? Mass of 58.5. And moreover, he is saying the percentage yield is only 20%. Let me write here. 20% means 20 is equal to actual silver chloride by theoretically calculated silver chloride. Just theoretically I am writing, not more than that. Please observe. Here he has given actual. He has given actual. Let me calculate theoretically. Theoretical silver chloride mass is equal to, how much he has given? 2.87. So 2.87 by 20. Here 100 should be there. 100 should be there. Theoretically means into 100, that is 5. So finally 5 into 2.87 grams. 2.87 grams. That's what we have to get. Finally, the theoretical calculated silver chloride, because here I am doing theoretically calculations. Theoretically calculations. So finally, what I have to write here, students? Now, please tell me 5 into 2.87, how much? So 5 into 2.87 divided by 143.5 into 58.5. Okay. Double of this actually if it is 287. If it is 287. Okay. But 2 digits are there. So this is nothing but 0.02. So it is 5.85 grams. So mass of sodium chloride that should be involved in the reaction with only 20% yield, then only you will get 2.87 grams. 2.87 grams. So out of all this explanation, first you may get one doubt here, students. Consent. Sir, he has given 2.87. If you solve with 2.87 like this, what will happen? No. This is actual formed product. But the reaction he has mentioned as only 20% yield. Here I am doing all these calculations theoretically. Here I am not doing any experiment. I am not running any process here to manufacture. So that's why all the things I have to do theoretically only. That's why first, see, concentrate here, students. I have utilized the concept of percentage yield of process or reaction. 20 is equal to actual formed silver chloride divided by theoretically formed. So, theoretically silver chloride, I am going to take all these things, substituted 2.87. So, this is the mass of silver chloride that I have to take to do the calculations in this process theoretically. Please try to understand it theoretically. So, finally, I got that as 5.85 grams. This is also not the answer, students. There is one more concept here. In the beginning, he himself given as that sample of sodium chloride is only 50% pure. Only 50% pure. It means, I am going for final calculation. It means for every 100 grams of sodium chloride sample, I am writing a sample, 100 grams of sample contains 50 grams of sodium chloride. That is the meaning of 50% purity. Now, my requirement here is for sodium chloride only 5.85. So, if it is 5.85 grams, how much sample of sodium chloride I have to take? That is 5.85 by 50 into 100. So, our final answer is 11.7 grams. Very important question, students. Perfect advanced question, no doubt about it. Here, he has linked two concepts, percentage yield of the reaction and as well as percent purity of chemicals. Both the concepts he has linked here, and first I have evaluated the mass of sodium chloride actually needed to produce 2.87 grams practically with 20% percentage yield, and then I have calculated by using this data the weight of sample. It means if you are given with 11.7 grams of sample, out of that only 5.85 grams will be there sodium chloride, and after that 1 mole gives 1 mole, 58.5 gives that one, 5.85 gives how much, and including that only 20%. That is why finally you will get it as 2.87 grams. Don't forget about it. It is very important, students, and let us go for the next numerical. Please note it down. Okay, students, under the same heading stoichiometric calculations, the last part that should be discussed is sequential and parallel reactions. Sequential and parallel reactions, and numericals based on these two approaches, sequential reactions and parallel reactions. What are sequential reactions? Say for example, I am going to give it theoretically. A plus B gives rise to C plus D, say. Again C combines with E to form some F. Again F combines with G to will get H. It is, these are the set of reactions which follow a particular sequence. The product obtained in the first reaction will be the reactant in the second reaction, and the product obtained in the second reaction will be the reactant in the third reaction. So, these reactions will go sequentially one after another. That is why these type of chemical reactions are called sequential reactions. Sir, how you will get the numericals based on this? Yes. If you are given with A for example, from the data A, based on the chemical balanced chemical equation, you can calculate the moles of C. So you can substitute the moles here and you will get the moles of F here. And moles of F you substitute here, and based on that you can calculate the moles of H. This is one way of doing, beginning with the first reactant and ending with the final product. And sometimes they will give the final product H and they are going to ask you the reactants A and B, what amounts of A and B involved in that sequence of reactions in the beginning stage to get the final product, some moles of H. Then from this H you have to find out the moles of F, and you have to take the moles of F here, and then from that you have to find the moles of C, and you have to take the moles of C to here, and then you have to find out the moles of C and moles of B and moles of A. That is why these set of reactions are called sequential reactions. Sequential reactions. Okay. This we can understand more efficiently while we are solving the numericals. Okay, students. Now, another type, parallel reactions. Parallel reactions means, say for example, if a chemical A is there, it can react at a time with B and as well as C. At a time B and as well as C to form products D, say for example E at a time, and for a given amount of A. For the given amount of A or for the given moles of A, some moles will react with C and some part of A will react with B. It means at the same time you will get some moles of D and some moles of E. So based on the data of D and E, you can estimate the moles of A, or you will be given with A, B and E, and you can calculate D and C. D and C. If you have total 5 chemicals, if you are given with 3, you can calculate the remaining 2. Again in that weight volume reactions may take place. So these are the approaches. And one more combination also we can write based on these two again. See, A, I will write here, plus 2B gives rise to some D. Same A plus 3C gives rise to E. Again D on combination with F gives rise to the chemical G. Again E on combination with I gives rise some product H. Up to here it is parallel reactions. From here to here it is a sequential reaction. From here to here it is sequential reaction. Means you may get the combination of parallel and as well as sequential reactions. So this is the meaning of sequential and parallel reactions. And my next numerical approach is based on these two concepts. Okay, students. Okay, students, write down the numerical. What weight of, write down students, what weight of calcium carbonate must be decomposed to produce, sufficient quantity of, QTY I am writing, sufficient quantity of carbon dioxide to convert 21.2 kg of sodium carbonate into sodium bicarbonate. Sodium carbonate into sodium bicarbonate. Here he has given sequence of reactions of 2. Let me explain. Finally, his motto is to convert sodium carbonate into sodium bicarbonate. You don't know the reaction, I will give the reactions to the students, so please concentrate. I am writing here sodium carbonate plus H2O plus CO2. On passing carbon dioxide to a solution of sodium carbonate, that will be changes into sodium bicarbonate. This is the data that I can write here. Now, let me write 1 mole, 2 moles here, 1 mole of CO2 here. Okay. What is the molar mass of sodium carbonate? 106. Molar mass of sodium carbonate is 146 plus 12, 58 plus 48, 106. Okay. Let me check. 106 grams sodium carbonate needs 44 grams of CO2, because molar mass of CO2 is 44. But this time he has given 21.2 kg. Convert that into moles. 21 into 1000, 21200 grams. Means how much mass of carbon dioxide. Now I got the mass of carbon dioxide is equal to 21200 by 106 into 44 exactly. So 200 into 44 grams CO2 is required. Now look at the question, where you are getting that carbon dioxide for this process. First of all, carbon dioxide you should get by the decomposition of limestone. Then only by using this carbon dioxide you can convert carbonate into bicarbonate. But he has given the data of this reaction, that's why I have started here. I am going to end with the first reaction. So these two sequential reactions. Okay, 1 mole means we know molar mass of limestone very well, 100 grams. Gives 1 mole 44 grams. But this time how much is needed? 200 into 44 grams. How much? 200 into 44 divided by 44 into 100. If you convert this into kg, so 20 kg. So that is the final answer. 20 kg of calcium carbonate must be decomposed. Then you will get 200 into 44 grams of carbon dioxide. Then it can convert 21200 grams of sodium carbonate into bicarbonate. So from this data I have calculated this data, or you may be given with this data and you can calculate this. Any data based on that. It is a sequential reactions. The carbon dioxide required here should get from the first reaction. So from this data I have estimated this. Okay students, with this question I am going to conclude this session. In the next session I will discuss 3 or 4 numericals based on the sequential and parallel reaction concept, and then we have to go for the next part of stoichiometry, idiometry, which is nothing but volume calculations. Thank you.